You're listening to the Empire Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Star Wars Wastelands. We are coming to you live from channel 1138, or quite possibly, if you're listening to us on Thursday or later, you're listening to us on YouTube on the Empire Network. We have, well, a different show lined up for you today. It turns out that an elephant sat on McMahon and he's no longer with us. Shucks, no, I know, right? Unbelievable. So, in other words, Allard finally sat down. Couldn't resist. No, McMahon is out with a head cold of some sort, so we'll have to truck along without him. In other words, let's throw a party. The party pooper's gone. There hasn't been a whole lot of news around the Star Wars universe this week, and normally we bring to you the first order of business, the HoloNet, the Outer Rim, and the Trench Run. Well, today we're going to call it free-for-all. That being, we're going to talk about anything Star Wars gaming related. Exactly. So anything Star Wars gaming related that anybody wants to talk about, it's fair game. However, before we get into that, I want to point out that Mr. Benjamin Hart of the Star Wars Underworld posted a link today that covered what the Star Wars Episode 7 Shadows of Sith game was supposed to be about in the mid-2000s. Hayden Blackman was the project lead on that. Probably recognize that name from The Force Unleashed and The Force Unleashed 2. In a nutshell, the Star Wars Episode 7 Shadows of the Sith, you would have been an adult Ben Skywalker. That's right, Luke and Mara's son. And you would have been traveling the universe, experiencing these new sort of mind-blowing force power techniques never seen before in game or film alike. Sound familiar? It probably should, as Blackman was the lead on The Force Unleashed. During the game, Ben Skywalker would walk on the edge of the light side and the dark side, and it would be your choice to choose, is he going to be light or is he going to be dark? Kind of makes me sad that we didn't see that. I almost would like to see this game resurrected. Obviously, that wouldn't be possible now, as Ben Skywalker is no longer canon.
He's no longer with us.
Yes, Alex sat on him too.
But you know who is? Ben Solo.
Yes, indeed. I'd be totally down for a Kylo Ren game.
Wouldn't that be dope?
It would be mega dope. It'd be so dope. You'd
It'd be
probably
the
get
dopest.
arrested for so much dope. It'd be the dope city.
The reviews on the back just say, like, this game was dope.
If you don't play this game, you don't know what dope is.
But, you're talking about an era, though, where, and we touched on it last week, where Star Wars gaming really fell apart from what it used to be, right? I mean, look back to as far back as the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, original PlayStation, even to the original Xbox, GameCube, PlayStation 2 era. Star Wars gaming was huge. I mean, it was massive. And then all of a sudden, it just really fell apart.
Your microphone.
Somebody's eating the microphone.
Sounds like you threw your microphone into a garbage bag.
Yeah.
Threw the garbage bag off a
Starlight,
cliff.
you doing that?
That would be me trying to multitask here. Can't reach the mute button.
Starlight.
Anyway, before we go any further, tonight's esteemed bounty hunters Mondo, how's it going tonight, buddy?
It's going pretty good. I'm excited to talk some gaming.
Now, right off the bat, I just want to say we're doing this show with heavy hearts. I apologize if I get this wrong, Mondo. Mondo here lost, I believe it was either his godmother or his grandmother or both. What was it, Mondo?
She was my godmother, but she was the closest thing to a grandma that you can have. That's not actually your grandma. So,
You see, the way I read it, I thought maybe you had lost two in a very short amount of time. Regardless, though, thoughts and
sorry
prayers
about
on
that, man.
behalf of everybody at the Empire Network and Channel 1138 are
Absolutely.
with you, brother.
well, I appreciate that, guys. And it was tough. Last Thursday, I got off work early. It was the big Daytona weekend, and I had the weekend off. And I sit down to kind of thumb through Facebook, and I see somebody post on Facebook, because that's never a great way to find things out. And I went to say goodbye to my grandma today, and my first thing was, oh my God. So I'm sitting there telling myself, oh man, she passed away. Well, it turned out she hadn't passed away yet. So in a way, I had to kind of go through it twice within a couple of days. So it definitely wasn't easy, and definitely not going to get any easier. But thank you guys for all the support. I do appreciate that.
Well, thoughts and prayers are definitely with you. Next up, we have, well, I guess it's not on very often. It's Mr. Thomas, the everything man at the Empire Network and Channel 1138.
Who's Thomas?
Thomas Brady? Are you the Tom Brady?
I don't know who I am. I ask myself that every
Put
day.
the air back in those footballs, son.
Hey now.
No, I seriously cannot tell. I couldn't throw a football, but I am the worst athlete ever. Well, I like to think that
I don't believe
a
it.
plastic light. There you go.
I don't believe it. Also joining us tonight, it's a man that hasn't joined us in a while. He is the king of gaming, at least Star Wars gaming, here at the Empire Network. It is Mr. Tony, a.k.a. Yoda, a.k.a. the man with many voices, a.k.a. playing KOTOR2 as we speak. How's it going, man?
Yes, it's going.
How's Hondo, Tony?
Hondo? I think he's back drinking Corellian ale, though. You guys want me to bring him out? I mean, I could go get him.
Oh, God.
It's not going to be that hard.
As long as he doesn't try to, hijack the show.
I don't know if he'll do that. I got a pretty good leash on him.
That's getting all sorts of bad images in my head.
So, but let me pause this. Hey, Hondo.
Where has he gone?
He has become one with the Force.
Ah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Hondo, you know better than any of us. What else are we doing for the rest of the show, homie?
Let me find out. I didn't bring him up. All of a sudden I put it on hold as I was getting him, but I told him to go back to his drink because nothing was happening. So.
Well, I know.
Ben Hart in the chat. Whoa.
What'd he say?
Well,
Mr. Ben
he
Hart,
said
we are
something on
happy
the.
to have you here. We are in super technical, done screwed up technical difficulties mode right now.
Done screwed up.
John has broke his phone.
Did he actually break it?
Probably.
Well, McMahon actually is sick, so we can't exactly do anything.
So Tony, tonight is dedicated to gaming, and it is our understanding that you spend your podcasting time slacking off like the slacker you are, the pirate, playing
Excuse
Coder.
me, slacking.
Coder.
He goes, excuse me?
What are you doing, sir? What are you
Right
doing
now,
right now?
I've
What plane
got
are you on?
right now I've got Knights of the Old Republic 2 on
Nice.
the Xbox, and it's not just Xbox 360. It's an actual original Xbox.
What? It's like a dinosaur, son.
Yeah, did you dig that up from a time capsule?
Yeah.
Well, I did buy it
Jurassic
from.
console.
I
they're
bought
not
it
that
from
old. I got one
the
sitting here.
eBay.
How much did it
Nice.
cost you?
About $60.
That's about right.
Fair enough, I guess.
I got mine for 30, but it didn't come with any of the cords or anything. So,
Oh, mine came with.
Yeah, you need those.
luckily, I still had the. Well, I didn't really care too much because I knew that I'd be buying the HD cables for it anyway, so that cord didn't matter. And I had a couple extra power cords from when I originally had an Xbox, so um, didn't really bother me a whole lot. But no, I mean tonight we're supposed to be talking about Star Wars gaming, and that's something that
Yes.
for many people for the longest time, was their really their only real on-screen connection to the Star Wars universe. I mean,
Besides the
um,
movies.
well, I mean it really was. I mean,
Yeah.
because after between the release of episode 6 and 1, yeah. I mean, there was really nothing on screen for the longest time.
Yeah.
But the games are what kind of kept it visually alive, I guess, in a way. You can
Breaking
say, I mean,
news. The latest tweet by Kylo Ren on Twitter.
Is it emo Kylo Ren or is it
Emo Kylo Ren.
All right.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mondo, but this just came out 20 seconds ago. Dear Diary, C-3PO told me he once convinced Ewoks to serve my dad as a roast at a banquet in his honor. I have such new respect for him. There you go.
um, man, that's
Oh
that-
my.
the owner of that.
And
that-
just letting you guys know, as I play Coder, I'm controlling the Sith assassins' minds. I'm confusing them and making them come to my side.
Nice.
The cool thing about Star Wars gaming, though, truthfully and honestly, was that there were so many different types of games. And so many games that followed so many different, not just storylines, but completely different, areas of Star Wars. So you had the Rogue Squadron games that were the air assaults and the aerial combats and the aerial missions. Most notably Hoth and taking down the Walker and all that cool stuff. And then you had the Coder games, that
Right.
where there were RPGs, there were full new stories, which to this day so many gamers still grasp onto as some of the best games in the, not just in the Star Wars gaming side of things, but just in gaming in general.
Yeah.
You had the Star Wars Podracer game, and I know that it wasn't necessarily the most critically acclaimed game, but it was still kind of a different avenue, a different direction in a way.
Is this the first Pod
They
Racer game or the
experimented.
second?
Well, yeah, there was two. There was Star Wars Podracer, and then Podracer Revenge.
Racer Revenge or whatever it was called, yeah.
What?
Uh,
Is that really
and
what it was called?
Yeah, and I believe Racer Revenge was the exact same as the first one. It was just a slightly up with a little bit updated graphics. Man, I had different pods and a few bonus tracks.
I thought the storyline was like, in the non-canonical sense that it was all non-canon, of course. This was supposed to take place like as a grudge redo between like Anakin Episode 2 era and Sebulba. Or am I wrong?
Oh. Oh, you could be absolutely right. It would make sense to the title. I just always assumed it was kind of like a re-release, so the first one was just bonus content. So you could be very right. I never got around to playing it because I always, like I said, I just figured it was the first one. Whoops. So, fair enough. But I mean, but then you had, you go back a little further, right? Go back to the original PlayStation era, where
Yes, that's my era.
where you had games like Rebel Assault, which was a 2-disc game that had actual cutscenes in them, that today make absolutely no sense, but it had them. And then, you had Jedi Power Battles, which was absolutely ripped apart, but was an arcade-style game. Um, you had so many games. You had, in that era, on the Dreamcast, I know it was on the Dreamcast, it might have been on the PlayStation. It was called Star Wars Demolition. It was kind of like a Twisted Metal Star Wars
The
themed
game
game.
was.
Sounds amazing, actually.
Yeah, the game, the execution, it sounds amazing. The execution, not so much.
Ah,
Uh, but the point of bringing up all these different games is just to kind of outline the different types of Star Wars games that you had, right? You didn't just have just one style of game. You had many styles of
yeah.
games that came out.
That's not to even mention the uh, Lego games and whatnot.
Yeah, the Lego games, which were truthfully revolutionary. I
I
mean,
100% agree.
the Lego Star Wars was the first, not the first Lego video game, that would be completely inaccurate, but it was the first of its kind,
Yeah.
and it has spawned so many other games and so many other franchises and just so many
They're
different things.
they're almost platformer like adventure games.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are.
You have
Um,
levels.
you have levels, some little worlds to explore.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to do in them. I'll be honest with you. Um, to 100% of one of the Lego games, I believe it takes an estimated 40 to 60 hours to go through the whole
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
So don't hold me to that number, please. But that's what it estimates. It sounds about right. I played through one of them, and when I saw my percentage at the end, I was like, "What?
Oh yeah. I
This doesn't
recently went
even."
through Marvel Lego, got to 100%, and well, 99.9. There was a glitch, but it took me, I playing almost all day for a week straight.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it does take quite a bit of time. So, um, you know, in regards to that, really quick, has anybody heard from Sean? Um,
I
No, Sean did say, when everything went down, he said go on without him. So I think he gave up. He's driving at the same time, so he was mobile Skyping us, going to do some sort of errand. So I believe that
okay,
this just works better for him in the long run.
okay. Uh, so so with that, I mean, so Tony here, he's obviously a big Coder player. I think he's been playing Coder every time we've talked to him over the last couple of months here on Wastelands. Jake obviously is a big fan of the Lego Star Wars game.
I am so
Oh, I
freaking
love the
Lulu.
Lego Star Wars myself.
They're my favorites, and I love the first Force Unleashed too.
Yeah, see, I like both of those two games, and it's funny you bring those up because, I can't remember if this was on or off the air last week, but we talked about those games and how, aside from the Lego Star Wars games, in Last Generation, those were really the only Star Wars games that came out, were the Force Unleashed, um, and it's just kind of crazy to think that
Yeah.
you go from this era, right, where you have basically at least one Star Wars game a year coming out, to have only, excluding the Lego Star Wars games, to have only two come out within an entire game life cycle. To
Yeah.
me, that's mind blowing. Because let's think about it. On the original Xbox and PlayStation 2 era, just on the Xbox alone, okay, you had Coder 1 and 2. You had the Clone Wars game. You had Battlefront 1 and 2. That's 5 games just right there. And I know that there's a lot that I've left off that, because you had the Obi-Wan Kenobi game, and was it Rebel Commander? You
Commando.
had, yeah, Rebel Commando. You had those games, and then you had obviously the Lego
Well, and the
game.
Battlefront games too. Unless
Yeah,
you just
you
mentioned
had.
that. I don't know.
I did, and you
Jedi
had
Outcast, Jedi Knight Academy.
Yes, you
Jedi
had those
Academy?
games.
Mm-hmm.
You also had the Star Wars Episode 3 adaptation game. Um, in that era, I don't know if this was on Xbox. I know it was on PlayStation 2. You had Bomb Bad Racing. It was a terrible game. I have no idea what they were thinking. But it was still a Star Wars themed game. And that's proof right there that not all of the Star Wars games knocked it out of the park, right?
Nope.
And there's a ton more we haven't mentioned that we probably won't because they're scars we don't like to look at.
Garbage.
Yeah, you're right, but it's just really weird, So all the games I just mentioned were from one gaming generation, and the the Jedi Starfighter games. Yeah,
Right,
was it
yeah.
I was just playing the first one the Sunday.
Um, you know, I, and if you think about all those games that we just talked about, they're all different in their own way. And then the GameCube obviously had its Rogue Squadron games. I believe there was 2 of them on the GameCube. I could be wrong on that, but so we just talked. So all those titles that we just named, and as Tony mentioned, I'm pretty sure we probably missed a few of them. Okay, that was just in one gaming generation, and it was one of the shortest gaming generations, in my opinion, that we've had. Rex, it was, well, no, I take that back. It was about a 6 or 7 year generation. So you had all those games that came out within 6 and 7 years. Now let's go to the original, or the PlayStation, or the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. And let's even include the Wii in there. The Wii had its Jedi Clone Wars training game, which was absolutely stupid.
What about Star Wars Connect?
Star Wars Connect?
We don't talk about Star Wars Connect.
I will.
As
because
Dominic Jones would say, Dancing
what?
Leia is just fun, it's funny, it's fun, it's all around good times.
Ugh.
A few good things came out of Star Wars Connect. The first one was the limited edition Xbox 360, which I own. And that's about it. But no, I mean, so you had those 2 games. You had Lego Star Wars 2, and then Lego Star Wars Complete, and then you had The Force Unleashed 1 and 2. I truthfully can't think of any other Star Wars games that were in that generation.
Force Unleashed 2 gets ripped apart a lot too, and I know why. Is because it is subpar to the first one in a lot of ways.
But the first one was so great.
The first one was amazing, yeah. But the second one, I enjoyed the first time through before I had that critical.
It's not good for a replay. It's not good for a replay.
No, definitely not. But you can't beat the little cinematic trailers that they put out for that. Nothing beats that. This is so great. Maybe the Old Republic MMORPG cinematic trailers and stuff, but those are some of my favorite aspects of the games, and they aren't even the games.
Well, yeah, you're right, and they did a great job of addressing those games in terms of the advertisement and the way that they build them up.
Yeah.
The problem with The Force Unleashed 2 is I don't even think the game pushes 6 hours in length.
No, it's not very long.
And I mean, I remember I started it on a Sunday morning and finished it by a Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
And it was extremely disappointing. I mean, it felt rushed. It felt thrown
It wasn't
together.
very meaty at all. It was yeah, it wasn't.
Ooh, I just got done the first planet. Oh, there's a third. Oh, I'm done.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, they were fantastic games, and the idea behind them were awesome. I remember when Star Wars The Force Unleashed came out, it's all people talked about. And you even went into GameStop, and it's all, it was just when some of the GameStops were putting in the screen, like the televisions, that would play videos. And that's all it would talk about on that screen.
Well, the
Star
name
Wars
itself sounds like it's going to revolutionize Star Wars games. The Force Unleashed, like what is this? What? It sounds way different than Jedi Starfighter, power battles or something like that. It sounds like you're gonna wreck some chiz,
Well, you're
for lack of
right,
a better word.
you're right, and I almost want to say that it was one of the coolest overall games. I mean, you could do some really cool things. It had some really cool Easter eggs in it. And,
Yeah,
um,
that intro where you're Vader and Kashyyyk is great.
yes, yes, I actually forgot about that. And when you're pulling the Star Destroyer down,
Oh yeah,
uh,
great moment.
out of,
Great moment.
yes, that was one of, in my opinion, one of the coolest moments I've had in video gaming.
Yeah, I I don't know why. But for me, it took a really long time to pull the Star Destroyer down, but it seemed a little. It took a little long. I don't know where I'm going with this. It seemed like
You were
it took too long.
terrible at the game.
Apparently, I just sucked at it, um, but yeah, visually especially that scene was amazing.
Visually, the games in general,
Yeah,
honestly, looked good.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I feel like because of the second one, it kind of hurt the legacy of those two games. And we were
yeah.
talking about, we've been talking about LucasArts over the last couple of weeks. Sean McMahon and I, and I really do feel that those two games were the start of the downfall of that studio.
Mhm.
Um, it just, I don't know. It, they're good games. Don't misunderstand me.
Well, the
Uh,
intentions were definitely good, I mean, you don't go into a game with bad intentions, I guess, but
I'd hope not.
they should have taken their time with the second one, definitely, if anything. And they should have had a few better ideas for further games beyond that. I can't imagine they're needy in the financial department. I mean, it's Lucas Arts, for goodness sake. They've got many other successful branches of their company, feeding money into it. Especially now with Disney, but it's all over to EA now.
And
Um,
now look at where we are today.
Now look, we got a subpar Battlefront, and just nothing looks good on the horizon. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No,
It-
no, 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 no. It has to be said. I've been quiet, being good through the technical difficulties.
honestly, that's not my true opinion. I
We got
enjoy
an
it.
MMORPG going right now that nobody friggin' knows if it's canon or non-canon or medium canon. We got
Medium
these
canon.
great Coder 1 and 2 games, which could easily become canon, but no one will make them canon, and so people will say they're like the illegitimate redheaded freckled stepchild.
Jeez.
Hey, that's my
Well-
wicked stepchild, dang it.
Well, but let's be completely honest, though. Tony's got a point. I mean, not Tony. Wow, I'm sorry.
He's got a point. That is his stepchild.
He does. He does. But Thomas also has a good point here.
And don't forget, before I finish, what the hell happened to Star Wars gaming? Why have we had nothing good going for us for these past, 5-6 years?
Well,
Yeah,
it's because they closed down LucasArts when Disney acquired.
Well, that happened recently.
They did close down LucasArts, and I feel like it all started with the last generation. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, they had that Star Wars 1313 that never came to life.
I wanted that to happen so
I
bad.
loved that.
Yes, the idea was just amazing. The
It looked
trailer, yes, that could have been the rebirth of Star Wars gaming.
It could have been. I feel that we're in a situation now that we can possibly be in a rebirthing of it. With EA at the helm, and I know a lot of people. That's weird. So I'm playing this game called The Crew. Okay, it's a driving MMO kind of game, and the radio's going. So I heard it talking to me in the background. I thought it was you guys, but A lot of people are very nervous about EA taking over for Star Wars because their track record toward the middle to end of the last gaming generation was less than favorable.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Why did they decide to give it to EA?
that I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if
What was the reason
they
behind that? Was it just a money thing, or what? Because it certainly wasn't based on the reputation.
it was probably more of a money thing.
Yeah.
But don't forget, though, this is also Disney. At the same time,
Disney
and
could
then,
have just as easily made it themselves. Whenever
Yes,
something
that's what
gets
I
too
said.
powerful, they just buy it and keep it for themselves.
Disney would make an amazing bunch of Star Wars games, I think.
see, it's hard to tell. Disney Interactive is, in all fairness, is also not what it used to be. I remember when I was growing up, man, Disney Interactive, some of the best.
50 years ago.
Remember the Tarzan PC game?
Do you guys
Oh,
remember the Aladdin Sega Genesis game? The Lion King Sega Genesis game?
Nah. Sega Genesis is, well, it might not be before me, but I never really got into the Sega.
When I was growing up, those were the games that we had to play, and they were all, fantastic games. And Disney is one of those companies that, in a weird way, is kind of. I feel like they've also kind of lost some of their touch in a way.
Do you ever wonder
well.
if they were actually fantastic, or do we just remember them as fantastic?
Oh no, I actually still have a Sega Genesis hooked up to my TV, and I actually from time to time with my niece will actually pop some of those games in, and I actually feel like a couple of those games have gotten a little better over time.
Really? Wow.
Yes, especially the Lion King game. As an adult, I pick up on some things in the Lion King game. I know this is a little off topic.
Was there a level where you ate bugs with Timon and Pumbaa?
You know what? Yes, there was.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I believe it was a mini game that you unlocked after one of the levels.
Amazing.
And I don't know, it was just a really cool game. Visually, it was really good for its time. But I don't know, I hope... The one thing I will say about the new Battlefront, though, so we've been talking about all these old games, right? And all these retro games, I guess you can call them. So let's kind of switch gears and talk about Battlefront. Now, I know I've played it quite a bit, and yes, some of the overall content at launch was a little not there. I will admit that. But it's not as bad. Say that's
an understatement.
But it's not as bad as some people will make it out to be.
No, definitely
some
not.
People, okay, we're in an age where, first of all, a lot of the best PC games to ever come out were just online multiplayer.
Yeah.
Look at Counter-Strike.
Okay, Counter-Strike is a good game.
Tribes, I believe. I believe there was one that did have a single player, but I believe the main one, the one that most people played, was an online only game. I could be completely wrong on that. And there's a ton more. I mean, look at was it Battlefield 2? I believe it was, or Battlefield 1948 or something. I don't know.
Yes, that one.
It was an online-only game. So, I mean, people act like, this is new. And it's not new. People just wanted something that they knew they weren't going to get to begin with. And, it's sad, and I think that's one of the things that's holding down Star Wars gaming is, it's Star Wars, right? So everybody wants it to always be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, we're in an age where nothing will always be perfect. I don't know if we ever lived in an age where anything was always perfect.
If anything ever is perfect, I mean, if you look at how far gaming though has come compared to back when I was a kid, I mean, hell.
50
Atari.
years ago.
Yeah, 50 years ago, my foot.
So,
I
how long
ain't
did you have
that
to wait in
dangle.
line for Pong?
Why, Sonny,
How
we
long
had
was
to
the
wait.
line in front of GameStop for Pong?
There
Man,
was
GameStop
no
wasn't-
GameStop
Oh, I
back when
know.
I was a kid. I mean, young man.
He had Game Crazy. Game
No,
Crazy.
he had a. No,
For
he probably had to go
Pong,
down.
I mean, we had to wait at. There was no Walmart. I mean, we had to wait at the Ben and Jerry's.
What? Did you have to go to Montgomery Ward?
No, we actually went to Lowe's to get the Pong.
What direction is this going?
I don't know.
Lowe's.
Some days you wonder, huh?
I wonder every day.
Well,
So-
that's true. Sometimes.
So, I know tonight was was hoped to be kind of a shorter show, and for good reason. You know, it was a really slow news week for Star Wars, which isn't really surprising given where we're at right now. You know, the episode 7 is fine. You know, is finally kind of dying down a little bit. Episode
Is it
8
even
is
still in theaters?
it should
Or is it
be.
starting to phase out?
What,
Yeah,
episode
it's-
7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw it last 2 nights ago.
Okay. Well, I don't know. The theaters around my way don't have the posters up no more. For whatever that's worth. I don't know.
You know, episode 7, you know, it's kind of run its course. You know, the theatrical course. Episode 8 is
Now we
just
want to buy the
starting.
DVD.
Exactly. The one little bit of news that came out this week is, it looks like it's rumored that it's going to be a 3-disc set, which isn't really surprising.
That's
I
only
think
a
that's
rumor?
kind of the. But even if it is, that's not really out of the ordinary though for big movies to have the 2 Blu-rays and then the DVD copy of it. But, you know, kind of, I guess kind of, not necessarily wrap this up for the night, but just to kind of, you know, get everybody involved. You know, what's everybody's all-time favorite Star Wars game? You know what, let's even take this further. What's everybody's favorite Star Wars game per generation? Starting with the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era. Thomas?
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era. What the hell?
Huh?
You know, I like the original Super Star Wars. It's alright. I mean, it was a game of its time. It was. I think that might have been the very first Star Wars video game to begin with.
Is anybody else having trouble hearing Thomas? He's really quiet on my end.
How about now? Any better?
There you
That's a
go.
lot better.
Yeah, this mic sucks. Cat ate the other one.
This mic sucks.
Anyway, I did enjoy the original Super Star Wars for the SNES or whatever.
Okay.
That's probably early. That's probably earlier than the first Dark Forces, maybe, possibly.
Yes. Dark Forces is actually on the next generation of the original PlayStation Nintendo 64 era.
Well, no, Dark Forces was originally a PC game.
Well, it was, but it shortly came out on the PlayStation shortly after that. So it's in that era of, you know, that time frame. Because I've got it for both. So, you know, you were a big fan of the Dark Forces game?
Oh, absolutely. I love Dark Forces 1, Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, Dark Forces Jedi Knight, blah, 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 Mysteries of the Sith, Jedi Outcast. Jedi Outcast is like my bottom of the barrel one. And then there's Jedi Academy, which takes the cake, of course, because it still has a thriving multiplayer community. I'll go on every once in a while, play a match of that. Just reinstalled the game a couple weeks ago and enjoying my run-throughs of it again.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Jake, how about you, man?
Yeah. Do you know how old I am?
I do. You're not much younger than I am.
Well, seeing as how I've never owned a SNES or Sega Genesis, I'm gonna have
he's
to
a
go
baby.
with. I'm just a little tight, guys. I'm 20 years old. I'm barely out of diapers. All right, let's stick with the
Okay,
the
you're
newer
only,
stuff.
you're only 6 years younger than I am.
You've never had an SNES?
Never in my life.
I'm only 1 year older than you, and I had an SNES. What's
Well,
up with
good
that?
for you. We
What's
have
up
different
with that,
lives.
brah? Come on, brah.
No, honestly, I've always wanted to buy one, but yeah, I can't name anything. I'm inexperienced, but if I had to try one, I'd probably want to give old Super Star Wars a try.
All right. Well, you're in luck. If you own a PlayStation 4, you can currently buy Super Star Wars for $9.99.
Or you can get the Hondo hookup.
It's like
online.
$1,000.
Hondo,
Oh, you mean $9.99?
Hondo
Yeah.
hookup.
Can Hondo steal a copy from me?
Hondo hookup. Use an emulator online.
Yes, we can get you anything.
So
The Hondo
you've mentioned the PlayStation 1, Jake. What's your favorite PlayStation 1 Star Wars game?
Man, the only one I ever owned was The Phantom Menace, and I had a blast with that.
That's actually a good game. That got a lot of good reviews.
Yeah.
It was a pretty cool game for its time. So, how about going into the PlayStation 2 original Xbox and GameCube era?
It's my bread and butter, son.
What stood out to you in that generation?
I'm gonna have to say I played the crap out of Battlefront 1 and 2, not to mention the first and second Star Wars Lego games. Well, and the third if you count the complete saga. I just had a blast with those, and I would spend hours, with my brother. We'd just, Saturday spend all day playing 2-player Battlefront. That was the most fun I think I've had, memory wise, thinking back, just playing games with my bro.
Fair enough. And there really isn't a whole lot on the 360 to choose from. Because I think you can use one hand to count them on. But if you had to pick one of them on the original or on the 360, what would it be?
The 360. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Force Unleashed, the first one.
Cool.
It's just a lot of fun.
And Tony, how about you, man?
I didn't get to play much with when I was a kid for some of that. But as far as like the Nintendo days, because I didn't have a Nintendo exactly. So.
Same, Tony. It's all right. We're in the same boat.
Yeah, but we didn't have a Nintendo for a while there, so. But I'm older than you too.
True.
So,
True.
I'm 38, so.
All
Yeah.
right.
That's a little older. Not too much.
All right. So what was the first Star Wars game that you actually ever played?
I would have to say I'm kind of on the areas of the Legos, or actually,
Yeah.
Coder was actually probably my best one.
Okay. All right. And of some of the more recent games, have you had a chance to kind of dive into some of those?
I actually don't have it on this computer, but I do have the Old Republic. And I also have a few of I have played the Lego Star Wars 3. I haven't played Battlefront, in the sense of the Xbox One, but so.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So, you kind of got your select Star Wars games that you kind of enjoy going back and playing from time to time.
Of course.
All right, that's good. So, with me, I love the Super Star Wars. That was always a fun game to play. There was an expansion for the Sega Genesis called the 32X. Some of you may remember that. There was a Star Wars game that actually came packaged with it. That was cool. On the PlayStation, I was a big fan of Dark Forces. I did own that on that console. I was also one of the few people that got enjoyment out of Jedi Power battles, but then again, at the time, I was like 8, so just swinging a
You
lightsaber
were
around was
biased.
fun. Uh, Getting into the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and original Xbox, Knights of the Old Republic was a lot of fun when I was a kid, just playing around. I never got to finish it, but I did play it quite a bit. Battlefront 2, I think my buddy Ryan and I, we went through, I think we went through 2 copies of that game. That's how much we played it. So we put a lot of time into that. On the 360, I've got to give it to the first Force Unleashed. It was a really good game. It was a really,
I'm
really
kind
fun
of
game.
disappointed in the Force Unleashed too.
A lot of people were. It was really short.
Yeah, it was short on top of. I played it, and on the first Force Unleashed, I really couldn't beat it exactly like I did the second one. I mean, I took and played the second one, and I'm like, dang.
Yeah, the second one, it was. Don't get me wrong, it's a good game. If for those of you who haven't played it, I definitely recommend picking it up. But at the same time, it's a little lackluster compared to the first one.
It was really
Still a good.
demanding hardware-wise for the PC for what you actually get. The whole Force Unleashed games.
Yeah, a lot of games were like that. The Lego Star Wars game was like that. When I remember when it first came out, I had a pretty decent laptop at the time, and it would not run that game. I was like, "Are you kidding me? It's Legos. How hard is it to render Legos?" Apparently, it's awfully difficult. Uh, and unfortunately, we've only got the Star Wars Battlefront to talk about on the new console. So, but overall, guys, do you guys think that we'll ever get back to Star Wars gaming where it used to be, where you had multiple games coming out per year, and you had different games on different consoles, and it was a thriving part of the game industry?
I think we will eventually. I think once Disney gets a hold of things and all that, I mean.
If we do, they're going to need a better domino, and this Battlefront game ain't the first one to tip over. They're going to have to try again, and try again, and try again until they get it right.
Fair enough, Jake. What do you think we're ever going to get to a state where Star Wars is a very prominent name in gaming? Is Jake even still here?
Oh no! Jake! 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 I answer for Jake. The answer is probably not.
Did
He's saying he had to go real quick. Who knows why?
oh, yeah,
Oh, well,
okay.
we
So
lost
Jake
Jake.
has left us.
Bye, Jake.
So all right, I think that just about does it for the night. I mean, it was a pretty just some fun gaming talk. Was there anything either of you two would like to add about maybe some of your memories of Star Wars gaming or anything of that nature?
Let's just say I spent at one night up all night till 4 o'clock in the morning one time, almost 8 to 10 hours of gaming just on Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh,
And you know what? That's RPGs for you. I remember doing that with a game called Blue Dragon. It's not Star Wars, but it's an RPG done by some of the guys that did Final Fantasy. Some of the artists from Dragon Ball Z were included on the project. I remember I stayed up all night playing it. And it's just RPGs, man. They suck you in, right? So one more thing is there's been a lot of rumors that we're gonna get a Knights of the Old Republic official Knights of the Old Republic remake. That a lot of people are maybe anticipating a E3 announcement. Do either of you two see that happening? And if so, are you excited about it?
I could see it happening.
I don't understand what a Knights of the Old Republic remake is supposed to be exactly. I mean, it's Knights of the Old Republic. The whole series ain't canon. How you gonna make Project like canon?
My guess is.
Or do you mean something different?
No, it sounds like they're gonna reboot the entire first game. That was something that we had talked about.
Didn't they just re-release the game a couple years ago for the mobile, like 2 years ago?
They did, and I think it's all been a test to kind of test the market. And everyone's like, well, we want three. I'll be completely honest with you guys. The first one came out, almost 10 years ago? Maybe a little longer than 10 years ago?
I have no idea.
And the second one came out a little after that. So it would make sense that they would kind of start from scratch. There's a large part of the gaming community now that either A, wasn't old enough to understand or how to play those games, and B, maybe get some of those in kind of and obviously cash in on a money opportunity. I think it makes perfect sense. I'm excited for it if it does happen. And maybe it'll give guys like me who didn't get a chance to finish it before a chance to play through it with updated technology and kind of an updated vision of the game. All right. So, any final thoughts before we call it a night?
If they choose to reboot the whole Knights of the Old Republic franchise in a different way, perhaps they will solidify the connections between the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic in a way that will retroactively bring the Old Republic officially green light, not some yellow or gray, but officially into the new canon, and maybe we will see that, I don't know, Revan content. Everyone's saying, bring us a Revan movie, I don't know about no movie, but maybe we'll see some more stuff eventually.
Oh. Well, yeah, you brought up an interesting point a few moments ago, and we'll end on this. I think one of the poorest jobs that has been done by Disney since the acquisition has been what exactly is Knights of the Old Republic? Is it canon? Is it not canon? Are certain parts of it canon? Are certain parts of it not canon? What is it? That's really one of the only things that they haven't really mentioned what it is, and they kind of keep leading us down a path where they let us believe it is. And then they kind of, in a weird way, make us believe it's not. I think it's time that we just get an answer on that. All right. So, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you for, helping us fill in. I know we had a couple illnesses and some technical difficulties getting started tonight. I do appreciate you guys. Thomas, thank you for your time tonight, man. We appreciate you.
Absolutely happy to help.
And Tony, thank you for your time and thank you for your contribution here this evening.
Not a problem.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for listening to us this evening. My name, again, this is Mondo on Star Wars Wastelands. And if you're listening on us on 1138, thank you for listening to us live. And if you're listening on us post-production, thank you guys for tuning into the Empire Network. And I hope you guys have a great week and tune in next week.